Welcome back to Second Gear Low. On today's episode, we're going to be changing the front and rear differential oils on this 100 Series Landcruiser. So this is going to be applicable to all the 100 Series with the independent front suspension, as well as the Lexus LX470s. So stay tuned and we'll show you how to do it. Let's quickly run through all the tools and parts you're going to need to do this job. Starting with the oil, you're going to need a Hypoid gear oil, which is API GL-5 in either SAE 90 or ADW 90. For the front diff, you need 1.6 litres, and for the rear diff, you need 3.2 litres with a diff lock or 3.3 litres without a diff lock. Some models of these cars came with a limited slip differential in the rear, which uses a different oil that has an LSD additive in it. Usually, you would check your firewall plate, and this would have a code, which you could look up online, and that would tell you whether you had the LSD. Now, we found conflicting info, so you can check above your fill plug on the axle housing, which sometimes has a sticker saying LSD only, or to cover yourself in both cases, you could use something like this, which is a limited slip oil, and that is suitable for both limited slip diffs as well as open diffs. Grab yourself a drain pan that can hold 4 litres, and a pump like this can be really handy to help you get that oil into the diffs. A torque wrench that can do 36 foot-pounds or 49 newton meters, as well as a metric socket set with a 12 and 24mm socket and a 10mm hex bit. You'll need 4 drain and fill plug gaskets, and there's the part number from Toyota. A flathead screwdriver, some nitrile gloves and safety glasses, as well as a bit of degreaser and paper towel to clean up any mess. As always, before you jump under your car, make sure you chock your wheels.
So we'll start at the rear diff here, which is located between the 2 rear tyres towards the back of the car. You can see that sticker up here, which is telling me LSD oil only. I'll start by removing the fill plug, which is this top one here, and there's 2 reasons I do that. First, if I remove the drain plug first, and then I can't remove the fill plug, I get into a situation where I might not be able to fill up my diff with oil again. The second reason is, by removing this fill plug first, it allows the oil to drain out a lot easier while air is entering inside the diff. So grab your 24mm socket, and we're going to crack that fill plug. Then I'm going to crack my drain plug, just enough that I can undo it by hand. Once they're both loose, I'm going to move my drain pan underneath and remove my fill plug. And then finally, my drain plug. Make sure you remove your old gaskets, and that's where that flathead screwdriver can come in handy. This one's come off nice and easy. You can see on this drain plug that it has a magnetic end, and that's going to capture any metallic particles that might be suspended in the oil, and it gives you an idea of where in your diff. Now this one's not too bad, so I'm just going to clean that one up and reinstate it later. This oil has come out nice and clear, but if yours came out looking milky, it could mean that you have water entering your diff and mixing with the oil. Common reason this happens is if you have a clogged diff breather, and we have a separate video, which is linked below in the description, which describes that issue and a very easy fix. Once the diff has had a good chance to drain, I'm going to wipe up around that area and then reinstate my drain plug with the new gasket. Then I can take my 24mm socket and my torque wrench and do this one up to 36 foot-pounds, which is 49 newton meters. Now we're going to start pumping in our new diff oil, and we're going to keep going until we see a dribble of oil coming out of this fill hole. You're going to need between 3.2 or 3.3 litres, depending on which diff option you've got. Once you start getting close, it's a good idea to have that fill plug ready to go so that you can pop that in as soon as you start to see oil coming out. And there you go, the oil has started to come out, so I'm going to pull that out and put in my fill plug. Then I'm just going to wipe up any excess diff oil. And then I can grab my 24mm socket again on my torque wrench for the same torque setting of 36 foot-pounds or 49 newton meters. Moving on to the front diff now, we're going to have to remove this bash plate, which is held on by 8 12mm bolts. So we'll grab our 12mm socket and start undoing them. You'll be able to see me removing the 4 bolts on this side of the bash plate, and then it's just a mirror image on the other side. Once you've removed all 8 bolts, you can pop that bash plate over to the side. So with the bash plate removed, you've got nice access to your front diff, which is located here just between your 2 front wheels, and your drain and fill plugs are located on the right hand side of the diff. So you can see your drain and fill plugs now. I'm going to crack both plugs, but again starting with the fill plug. It's always better to do this when you've driven the car, when the oil's nice and warm, because that allows it to flow out easier as well. To do these ones, you're going to need that 10mm hex bit. I'm just going to crack this drain one enough so that I can undo it by hand, and then I'm going to move the drain pan underneath to catch any oil. So with the drain pan now underneath, I'm going to remove this fill plug by hand. You can see on this fill plug that the gasket has become stuck, so that's where the flathead screwdriver comes in. You can use that to help pry it off. And same again, I can inspect that magnetic drain plug to see if there's any metal particles. This one's not too bad, so I'll clean it up, take off the old gasket and reinstate it later. When it comes to disposing of your old oil, put it into your old containers and you can normally take it to your local auto parts store where they'll dispose of it for you. Once that oil's had a good chance to drain, we'll give it a quick wipe and reinstate our drain plug with a new gasket. Then we can grab our torque wrench with a 10mm hex socket again and torque this up to 36 foot-pounds or 49 Newton meters. You might find that it takes quite a few turns to tighten this down, and that's just because it's crushing that new crush gasket. Then we can start pumping in our new fluid, and again we're going to wait until we see a dribble of oil coming down from this fill plug. You'll need about 1.6 litres, and this is just the standard 80W90 diff fluid. Once you start getting close, it's a good idea to have your fill plug ready to go with a new gasket. So now we can see it started to come out, so I'm going to reinstate that fill plug and just wipe up any excess oil. Then I can grab my torque wrench again with my 10mm hex bit and torque that up to 36 foot-pounds, 49 Newton meters, same as this one. Once those are both torqued up, we can reinstall our bash plate. I'm just going to go around and snug those down with a 12mm socket. That's it for today, guys. Changing out your driveline fluids is a nice and easy job that you can do to maintain your car for the long term. Check out our other videos on the transfer case fluid change and the differential breather install. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.